Speak about the blood vessels and circulations that are made inside the heart. To be more specific, let's go for this. You already have the link for the video and also previous videos and the information that needed for the circulatory system. We can see here that the body has two parts, the left side and the right side. And for the right side, you can find that the right side it's related and connected with two important veins that are found in the entire bodies, and they collect all of the blood to the heart through superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. We said that superior vena cava is collecting the blood from the upper side of the heart. Inferior is collecting all of the blood from the lower parts from the heart, and they are collecting all of it inside the right atrium. The right atrium passing the blood directly to the right ventricle. You can find here that there is a valve that prevents the blood from moving from the right ventricle to the right atrium, but allows the blood to move from right atrium to right ventricle. All of the blood in the right ventricle right now contains a huge amount of carbon dioxide. We call the blood right now it's deoxygenated, and the blood will travel. And there's another valve that is found in this artery. We call it the pulmonary artery. Collects all of the blood from the right ventricle with carbon dioxide to the two lungs. The blood will be purified, converting the blood with which contains carbon dioxide with oxygen, and then he will collect all of the blood back to the pulmonary vein that is conducting all of the blood into the left atrium in the heart, which passes the blood that is full with oxygen right now to the left ventricle down. And this is the other valve for the other left side, which we call it the mitral valve. And then you will start to push the blood with the oxygen through the aorta by pushing it from the left ventricle through the valve. Here we call it the aortic valve. This is the movement of the blood inside the heart. But when we go further for another kind of this question, he gave me here different names of the blood vessels. He is collecting the blood, as you can start from here, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. They will collect all of the blood to the right atrium, and then the right atrium will pass it to the right ventricle, and the right ventricle will pass it through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. The lungs will collect the blood back by pulmonary vein to the left atrium, and the left atrium to the left ventricle, and the left ventricle will pass all of the blood that contains the oxygen of the inside the blood to aorta, and the aorta will pass it to the entire body system. We can see here that all of the information needed, but you have to find here that the names of the valves are included into the arrows. The right atrium to the right ventricle, there is a valve, we call it tricuspid valve, and also we can find here the pulmonary valve that moves the blood to the lungs, and from the left atrium to the left ventricle the mitral valve, and the aortic valve at the end to the aorta. For each blood vessels there is special structure that is found for each type of them, which gives them a special function. You can see also the structures for those vessels through this link. He said here, if you have a relatively thick muscular and elastic layers that makes arteries able to withstand the high pressure as the heart forcibly pumps the blood through them to get all the body parts. So we can say that the arteries are very thick muscular and elastic layers. The pressure here in the arteries are very high, that makes the blood move to the entire body parts. But the movement here inside the veins, it helped them to be contracting for adjacent muscles, which are aided by valves inside the vein itself. You can see also the shape of the valves through this link, where you can find that the vein is not as thick as the arteries, and all of the blood that is moving inside the veins are able to be collected even from outside of your body. You have here the third type. So we have here three types of vessels. Third type is called capillaries, which are very thin, fine tubes that are making a network. They are conducting together at the end of arteries and the beginnings of the veins. The walls of these capillaries are very small, very thin, and it's allowing the diffusion for the blood inside and outside of the vessels, where you can find that there is a change directly between materials and also gases through the capillaries. So at the cells you can find that there are capillaries, but through the entire body you can find huge and extended arteries and veins. He said here, if you would like to see the difference between the arteries and vein and also capillaries, for each part of them they are made from different tissues and muscles. There's an epithelium tissue, there is a smooth muscle, and also connective tissue for the artery where the blood is moving through it. The artery is branched to arterioles, and arterioles are branching also to smaller parts, which we call it here the capillaries. The end of the arteries is here, and the start of the veins is here also, which is getting large to be venual, and the venual will be conducting a huge tube. We call it the vein at the end. They are made of the different types of the materials, but they have the same materials, but they have different types of the thickness. You can find here that the epithelium part that is found in each one of them is different. At the arteries it's small, but you can find that the smooth muscle is larger than this smooth muscles. All epitheliums here is different. This epithelium is wide and also huge, contain inside it a valve. This one is narrow and doesn't have valve inside it. Muscles here are huge, the smooth muscle. The smooth muscle here is not as thin as the artery. Also the connective tissue, the walls for the connective tissue is small. The thickness for the connective tissue here is small compared to the connective tissue for the arteries. The capillaries doesn't have anything from the smooth muscles or even the connective tissue to be as huge as those parts. You have here to understand that the blood doesn't come into direct contact with the cells that it supplies. Interstitial fluids that passes through the cells inside these tissues make all the substances to be into the cells by diffusion, or by something we call it active transport, and we will speak about the active transport later. But let's say that active transport directly, it needs energy to make the transportation. Okay, diffusion here means that the movement of materials, whatever the material is, from the high concentration part to the low concentration part. You find here that any interstitial fluid that is actually bringing to the cells all of the needed materials and also takes away their wastes away from the cells. This fluid here being compared and also collected by the blood inside the vessels that is found inside your body. And you can find here any capillaries that is found near to the lymphatic system or lymphatic vessels has here a low pressure for the blood to flow into the veins from the capillary. But when you start from the artery, it has a high pressure and low pressure away. High pressure found inside the end of the arteries, and here you can find that they are moving inside the cells by the diffusion or active transport. You can here find the materials that are needed, and here the wasted material that is not needed. Okay, there are three types of the circulations. Two of them are very important. We call the first one the pulmonary circulation, whereas the heart moves the blood, carries carbon dioxide deoxygenated to the lungs through the pulmonary artery, and then the oxygenated blood turns back to the heart from the lungs by the pulmonary veins. You can see here the website and the link is available to go through it to find the smallest circulation, and we call it the lungs heart circulation. Second circulation, we call it the systemic circulation, which contains all of the blood that carries oxygen inside it, pumped from the blood from the heart into the entire body through the aorta. And then the blood will have collecting will have collected all of the deoxygenated blood from the cells and going back to the heart by using the vena cava, the superior and inferior one. The last circulation, we call it the coronary circulation. Coronary circulation here, it happens inside the heart itself because the heart is a muscle, pumps the blood for huge period of time, even when you are sleeping. Yes, the rates and beats become smaller and lower than normal active life, but the heart continuously pumping the blood, so it needs inside it a huge amount for nutrients and also oxygen, because it's a muscle, and the muscle here always contracting and relaxing entirely. So it needs those material to get the energy from, and then it will remove the wastes back once they are finishing this. Also, the lymphatic system, like a narrow overview for it. Lymphatic system is already considered to be related to circulatory system. All of the information needed about the lymphatic system can be found through this YouTube link. You can find here that the lymphatic system is made of lymph vessels, nodes, organs, and also the organs just like these thymus, tonsils, and spleen. Each one of them has a special work inside our body to regulate and to entirely control the body and make a huge guardian for the body from the infections. You can find here that large animals, they need a very special transport system allowed to exchange the substances from the environment and the cell. Also, the components of this system, it's found to be a heart, which is a double pump to be it, and there are also various type of blood vessels that also carry the blood in specific directions entirely for the body. And the blood itself, it's the transport medium like the normal human, but here the differences would be into the heart because it's double pump material and needs different shapes and also tissues. You can find any activity of those, but you can work on this later. It gives you the parts, important parts for the heart. Also, the second one here that speaks about how the blood move inside the heart, how they can work, and also blood vessels. You can here also make this activity to find the heartbeat of your body, to collect it and check if you are normal in their heart rate or not. But I need each one of you to finish for me activity 5, question 1, question 2, and question 3. That's all. Thank you.